Madam Coordinator, can you check in with Ms. Chandler to see if she will be joining us today?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
Oh, there she is.
There she is. Okay, perfect. Good morning and welcome to this online hearing of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Ottawa under the Planning Act. This video conference is also live streaming on YouTube. With me are my fellow panel members, Jocelyn Chandler, Stephen Lewis, Terrence Otto, and Martin Vervoort. My name is Fabian Poulin, and I will be chairing this hearing today. The procedure for this hearing will be as follows. Listed on the agenda and appearing on the screen are the applications we will hear today. For the sake of efficiency, the committee may deal with an agenda item in a different order. Committee members have reviewed the planning reports and any written submissions in support or in opposition to each of the applications. Today, we'll hear oral submissions from any interested parties. As part of the statutory public notification requirements, each applicant was required to post a sign on the property and file a statutory declaration confirming the sign posting. This declaration must be on file today before we can hear the application. Without it, may have to adjourn the application or administer an oath if necessary. Can the coordinator confirm that we have received all statutory declarations?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have not received any.
Oh, I will administer the oath to each applicant then. The committee may ask for a brief presentation of the application, followed by questions from members and submissions from the public. Please address your comments to the chair, starting with your name and spelling it if necessary, and your municipal address for the record. The committee limits presentations to 5 minutes. Any exceptions will be at the discretion of the chair. Before we begin today, I believe we only have one item to address. And that item is, does any member present need to declare an interest in any of the applications that are before us today or that are on the agenda of another committee panel? I don't believe we have any declarations of interest, and we do not have any minutes to adopt from previous hearings. We'll now hear the application scheduled for this hearing, and we'll first deal with any items that may be adjourned. Is there anyone present who wishes to request an adjournment of one of the applications scheduled for this hearing? I believe we have several today. And to that end, we'll start with applications number 2 and 3, having to do with 1719 River Road and 1707 River Road. I believe the agent is Taylor West. Are you available, Mr. West?
Morning, Mr. Chair.
Good morning. Are you looking to adjourn this application today?
We are looking to adjourn both applications.
Okay. And when would you like to have them adjourned till?
We'd like to adjourn them sine die.
All right. I'd like to ask, does the planning department have any objections to adjourning these applications?
Through you, Mr. Chair, the planning department is agreeable to the adjournment sine die.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gordon. I'd like to ask the panel then to approve the applications to be adjourned sine die. All in favor, please raise your hands. Your applications are adjourned, Mr. West. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I believe we have applications 4 and 5. Mr. Sinclair, this has to do with 51 Henry Goulburn Drive. Is Mr. Sinclair here?
I am.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. Are you looking to adjourn your applications today?
Yes, we'd like to be adjourned until the next available meeting. In consultation with planning, we feel that that is enough time to provide them with the required tree information report.
Okay. Planning department, are you in agreement with the adjournment of this applications?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we're agreeable to the adjournment.
Thank you very much. Mr. Sinclair, we have May 5th is the next available meeting. Are you able to get that tree report in by next Monday or Tuesday?
I feel that that's possible, yes.
Okay. So I'd like to ask the panel then to adjourn this application to May 5th. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay. Your applications are adjourned till May 5th. Thank you
very much, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. So now we'll just proceed. Are there any others that look to adjourn their application today? I don't believe there are. So then we'll move on to agenda items in order. We'll now start with agenda item number 1. This is having to do with 8621 and 8601 Purdy Road. Consent to convey a portion of the property to the abutting landowner to the south, known municipally as 8621 Purdy Road. Is Mr. Robinson available?
Yes, I am.
Good morning, Mr. Robinson.
Good morning.
I would like to administer an oath having to do with the sign posting on the property. Are you available to take that oath now?
Yes, I am.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the notice provided by the committee was posted at the property to which the application applies for the prescribed number of days before this hearing, as instructed, and was clearly visible and legible during that time?
I do swear that to be true.
Thank you very much. Can you give us a brief overview of your application today?
Sure. I did send a PowerPoint file with the, thank you. So the property is at 8621 and 8601 Purdy Road, part of lots 3 and 4, concession 2. The property in green is the retained parcel. The lands in red at the bottom left of the screen is the portion to be severed and to be conveyed to the parcel immediately to the south of that. And it's transferring lands of about 0.41 of an acre from the retained lands to the lands that are owned by Mr. and Mrs. Purdy. So it will increase the size of their property from 0.27 hectares to 0.68 hectares. And the retained parcel will go from 109 hectares to 108.6 hectares. So it's there's some photos I could share as well. They're on the next few pages. So the lands in question are just at the bottom left of the screen. Next page, please. That's a better one. So the lands subject to the application are in orange, and they're to be transferred to the lands below them that are 8621 Purdy Road, and then 8601 is the remainder of the lands to the right and above the screen. That's a 108.6 hectare parcel of land. Don't think there's any more pages. So it's a simple transfer of land from one parcel to the other. 8601 Purdy Lane is owned by Ken Purdy, and 8621 is owned by Ken and his wife, Madeline. So the photo on the left is 8621, the front view of the house. The photo in the middle is the lands that are being transferred, taken from the back of 8621. And then the photo on the right is taken from the rear lot line of the lands that are to be transferred, and they show the rear wall of 8621 in the background. So I'm here for any questions. I would like to say, and I don't know if Mr. Gordon is going to mention this or not, but in the recommendation report from the planning department, there are comments or conditions 1A, B, C, and D. 1A, B, C, and D are fairly standard on an application like this. Condition 2 is talking about conveying lands for a road widening. I don't know if Mr. Gordon indicated anything to the committee ahead of time. He and I have communicated, and that condition is not necessary. There's no need for a road widening on this because the only transfer is not along the road frontage.
Yep, we recognize that, Mr. Robinson. Thank you.
Okay.
I'd now like to ask Mr. Gordon if he's got any comments to make on behalf of the planning department. Mr. Gordon?
Planning has no concerns with the application, and as was mentioned, the second condition should be removed from the report. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I don't see any objections from our conservation partners. Therefore, I'd like to move on to the panel and see if they have any questions, comments, or concerns. Mr. Otto? You're muted, sir.
Fine, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lewis?
No comments, no concerns.
Ms. Chandler?
I have nothing to add, thank you.
Mr. Vervoort?
No, I'm fine with everything, thank you.
As you mentioned, Mr. Robinson, was those conditions that were in the planning report, and we're removing the one having to do with the right-of-way. And to that end, I'd like to ask the panel if they approve of this application with that one change. All in favor, please raise your hand. The application is approved. Thank you very much, Mr. Gordon.
Thank you.
Mr.
I guess
Robinson.
the meeting's done.
We have to move on to, number 6, I think.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson.
Bye-bye.
I'd like to move on to application number 6, having to do with 5660 Doncaster Road. Minor variance to permit an increased building height and area for construction of an accessory structure at the rear of the property. I believe we saw this one April the 7th, and there was only one issue outstanding. Is Mr. Estiambra available?
Yes, I am, sir. I'm here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Are you available to take an oath having to do with the signposting on your property?
Yes, sir.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the notice provided by the committee was posted at the property to which the application applies for the prescribed number of days before the hearing, as instructed, and was clearly visible and legible during that time? You swear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. So I believe we went through this last week, or last hearing, and there was only one thing outstanding, which was having to do with the Conservation Authority. And I'd like to ask the Conservation Authority at this time to respond to that question they had on the last application. Are conservation partners available? Okay. Mr. Gordon, can you speak to that on their behalf?
I've not heard anything on the file. 1 second. Sorry. No, I can't speak on their behalf. Sorry. But
It seems that it has been resolved. Can you shed any light on that, Mr. Esiambra?
Yes, we have made several attempts to contact the Ottawa Septic Office, and the question had to do with servicing on the site for this building, for the proposed building. And I can confirm with the committee today that there are no services for this building, that there are washrooms and sinks located in the main building that's already constructed. That building is serviced by a pump out tank that's pumped out occasionally. But there's no plumbing of any kind in the proposed building.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions or comments from the panel? Ms. Chandler?
Just where is the tank located?
I'm not entirely sure where it's located on the property. I don't have that information in front of me here.
And you haven't heard back from the septic office of the Conservation Authority?
No, well, we have been in touch with the Conservation Authority, but we have not been able to reach the Ottawa Septic Office. We've made several attempts for phone messages and emails, but we have not been able to speak with anyone there.
Okay, thank you.
Any comments, questions, Mr. Vervoort?
I believe the sketch we received as part of the application indicates that the septic is at the front of the building. So I'm satisfied.
Thank you. Mr. Otto, any questions or comments? You're still muted, I think, sir.
No, I have no questions or comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lewis, any questions or comments?
Just to echo Mr. Vervoot's comments. I see the map by Argue Construction. They're a very reputable company, and I see the holding tag at the front, and I have no problems with this application. If it had been a high priority, I would hope the septic office would have picked up the phone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. I echo your comments. It's disappointing that they're not here today, but failing their attendance, I'd like to ask the panel for approval of this. Oh, there's Mr. Holland from the Conservation Partners. Morning, Mr. Holland.
Morning, Mr. Chair. My apologies for not being on time. We have tried to contact OSSO on this file. We have not had a response. The applicant has tried to provide additional information to satisfy what we think is the concern with the OSSO. It's not a site plan by an engineer, so it isn't technically what has been asked for, but it is additional information. Unfortunately, I don't have confirmation that the OSSO is willing to sign off on it.
Thank you. Any further comments by the panel? Ms. Chandler?
No, none.
Okay. Mr. Vervoort?
None.
Mr. Lewis?
I'm still good with it.
Okay. Mr. Otto?
I'm good with it. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to ask the panel if they approve of this application. All those in favor, please raise your hands. Your application is approved, Mr. Esiambra.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for the panel. Thank you.
You're welcome. I don't believe there's any further business, no further applications. I'd like to call for an adjournment of this meeting. All in favor, please raise your hands.